here are some quick tips for you to use your ultimate better in Marvel Rivals on various different heroes. So we're going to start with Hawkeye. If you've been maining Hawkeye, you've been playing Hawkeye, you might find that your ultimate kind of puts you in a stationary, awkward animation for a little while, and it makes you really vulnerable to oncoming attacks. And so yes, one option that you have to counteract that problem is just to do it behind cover, right? But what you can also do, should the right situation and circumstances arise, is use it while jumping or even falling off a ledge, just to ensure that you're a harder target to hit while it's activating. And it's worth pulling out any kind of sneaky tricks that you can like this, because his ult is absolutely cracked, so you want to do anything in your power to try and prevent your death before you use it. Now, speaking of cracked ults, Wanda's ult, or Scarlet Witch's ult, is one of the best in the game, like hands down, but it has a 4-second charge up time. And that means that you're susceptible to people like the Winter Soldier pulling you out of it and interrupting it. But what you can do with hers is you can cast the ult behind cover, and then you can move into range just as it's finished charging. And that means that you just minimize the amount of time that the enemy can actually take shots at you, but you still ideally get them in range at the very last second so that your ult hits them. Next, let's say you've been playing as Wanda and then you switch to Loki and you're like, oh yeah, Loki's ult will be amazing as well, right? You might have been somewhat disappointed, or at least you might have just had mixed results, right? Because Loki's ultimate is amazing in the right scenarios, but it's also pointless if you use it wrong. And it all ultimately comes down to your ability to read the game and your timing for using it. And so before you use his ult here, I'd really have a think about what your plan is, right? You're going to turn into another hero and you're going to gain their abilities. So when you're trying to hold the line on an objective, for instance, maybe that's the right time to turn into a Vanguard character, right? Or if you need some extra firepower, or you're really trying to take out a tank in a given moment, maybe you need to switch over to a damage hero. But if you're assessing your options and you're like, I don't know what my team needs in this given moment, you could also ask your team. Like, it might be that somebody actually has a really big need that you can solve for, and you just don't know it until you ask. So that's always an option as well. Next, Mantis's ult makes you completely invincible, so be selfish, right? Your team are going to be healed while allowing you to put a bunch of damage in, so don't be afraid to use it.